SavePoint makes it easy to import your data into the program. Despite having zero internet access, users can leverage the import system to import their data in the program with ease. Users can use spreadsheets to import their accounts, budgets, transactions, and balance sheets. All of the import systems on each page allow for CSV or Excel file formats, and the accounts and transactions pages allow for Quicken formats as well. Other formats may be added in the future. The system allows for column mapping, currency detection, duplicate checking, and auto-categorization. It is thorough, but it walks you through step by step. So here, we're going to showcase importing a transaction CSV today. This is one of the best and quickest ways to import transactions or balances into the program to track your income or expenses. Or on the balance sheet page, you can also use to track account balances, which is a similar system. And that is used to track your net worth. Most banks have a page where you can download your recent transactions as a spreadsheet, which should be compatible with SavePoint. So we're going to start with importing our transactions. Again, with transaction import, you can use a CSV or an Excel file. We also account for the Quicken formats, QIF, QFX, or OFX as well. So we're going to drag and drop in. SavePoint will then move to the next page, and it will ask you to identify the correct header row that we'll use to parse your records. By default, SavePoint looks at the first row, but as some financial institutions have data in different formats and different structures, we allow you to manually select the correct header row without ever needing to open a spreadsheet. So now, once you have your header row selected, you can map your columns. SavePoint analyzes your file and tries to match your column headers automatically. We have date, description, amount, and category. After mapping the fields, you can then move down to select which account you want to attribute these transactions to. This is, for example, a bank or a credit card that you added earlier in the accounts page. So let's just map these to a bank. We'll add this to our checking. This is just as an example, and we'll click on next. So next up, we have the amount direction page. Banks tend to format amounts differently. Some show expenses as negative numbers, others as positive. SavePoint asks you which format your bank uses so you can correctly identify income versus expenses. So for this one, we're just going to select positive amount, which means expenses show as positive numbers. Just as an example, to know for sure, you would need to open the Excel spreadsheet to know which way your expenses are formatted. So next up is currency mapping. This allows you to see on a vendor per vendor basis what currency is used for each transaction. For currency, you can set a default, which you can set it all to your base currency, or if you have international transactions, and SavePoint does attempt to detect this automatically, you can choose whichever currency is most appropriate for you. So we'll click on next once again. This is just a very quick preview page where you'll see a quick view of what the map data looks like before importing and any adjustments. So next up is category mapping. SavePoint maps your bank categories to your existing SavePoint categories that's within the program. It tries to match them automatically, and you can adjust anything that doesn't really look too right to you. Because most of this data is used already, it automatically maps. But SavePoint will look to your historical entries, which is again why this is mapped pretty much exactly one-to-one. Ultimately, the program will try and make an educated guess on the correct name, or if it is incorrect, you can go in and change the category for your import. There's also a merchant mapping feature, which allows you to enter a name of a vendor that should automatically fall under a specific category, and then you could use that instead to make importing even quicker. So we're going to select auto mapping here and then move on to the next step, which is a duplicate check. The duplicate checker compares your import against your existing transactions and flags potential duplicates with a side-by-side comparison. Pretty much all of these are duplicates. It's a very small file here. We have 28 potential duplicates. We're going to uncheck these and take maybe one or two just for an example. Import. The duplicate checker compares against your existing transactions and flags potential duplicates with a side-by-side comparison. So you decide which to keep and which to skip. And then the final step before the review and import is a vendor level mapping. This is an optional step for you. It allows you to go into the data that you are uploading, and you can change the category based on the vendor name. This file is very generic, so it says restaurants, for example, but this could be the name of a restaurant, depending on whatever you have in your bank file. And you can update the category directly here on a vendor per vendor basis. So for example, coffee corner could be set to dining out. Gas and go could always go to transportation or recreation or gasoline. So with merchant mapping, which is what I'm describing, you can set it once and the program should, for the most part, remember, unless you have some conflicting information. So now we'll move on to the final screen, which is our final preview here. The final review shows you everything: how many transactions will be imported, how many duplicates were excluded, and how many vendor overrides were applied. So we'll click on import, and then all of the transactions will be added over time, and then you'll be ready to go for the import. So now you can click on import, and all of your transactions will be added. You can sit back and watch the import commence. And with that, the import is complete, and that covers the import system. So we can click on close. For transactions, you do have the ability to filter by the import batch, and that allows you to see your recent import much easier. You'll only see those files and those transactions down below from that file, allowing you to reconcile or correct errors quickly. You can delete everything from this import specifically without touching anything else. Or you can go in and look at that particular import and make line-by-line edits. So the import tool for each module in SavePoint is similar and should help make your time in SavePoint more efficient, allowing you to spend less time on manual data entry and more time on analysis of your finances. So with that, if you do have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you once again. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions.